How many on a night everybody knew it was going to be packed, the final night, last chance, everybody trying to get one more ride in or get one more cream puff or see some stanky cows. And then when things pop off and get jumping, what was the actual response? How long did it take us to respond? Not officers, not officers responded swiftly and fastly. No, give me minutes. No, hold on. Give me some numbers. That's what accountability actually looks like. Not a doggone press release or a press conference. Numbers. The numbers, people, the numbers. What up, Milwaukee? And what up, world? What country are you in? Are you in the US? And if you are in the US, drop that state. Drop where you're from. Don't give me your address or nothing like that because people be doxing nowadays. Anywho, I'm Marcus Hart, Urban News Journal, and tonight we got 5 stories. 5. And every single one of them is about the same thing, whether or not it looks like it or not. And we trying to figure out who's actually accountable when something goes wrong. That's the whole mission. That's what we're on, tonight. And we got some other good stuff we're gonna get into as well. And starting with like David Crowley just opened the fall race for governor with a slight lead over Tom Tiffany. I'm going to tell you right now, a slight lead is not a lead you get comfortable with. And we'll get into why. Yes, we will. The Wisconsin State Fair had 7 arrests and an officer punched on its last night. And everybody's sharing the video. Nobody's asking the questions. Nothing that actually matters. They're not asking any of that. But tonight, I'm going to be asking. I'm going to ask for you, okay? I will do you the service. The Brewers are quietly running away with the NL Central while everybody's still talking about LeBron, okay? Milwaukee, we're going to give our team its flowers tonight. Man, I can't wait to get into that because I got a lot to say about that too. UWM is folding the Veteran Center into a shared hub. I'm a veteran. I know exactly what that room means to people in it. And I need you to hear this one all the way through. And last but not least, it's Black Business Month. Black Business Month. And it's a doggone shame I done got like more than halfway through the month without acknowledging that it is Black Business Month. So we're going to close this out the right way, talking about who in this city deserves your dollars this weekend. 5 stories, 1 thread. Let's get into it. And for those who are just joining, this is the Urban News Journal, independent, objective, unafraid. I'm Marcus Hart, the host. And do us a quick favor if you can. Drop a comment, hit us with a like, and also share the stream. And if you are brand new, hit that subscribe button. And to all of those who are returning, it's very good to see you guys. It's very good to see you. Okay, if I could actually see you, but in a weird way, in a real sense, I just look off into space and just imagine like how many people are watching and tuning in. And I want to thank right away people on TikTok who made one of my videos blow up. It's been getting a lot of traction, and that is that of the arrest video. Okay, so if you're not on TikTok and you want to go see that arrest video, it's also on my Facebook page too. Urban News Journal, all this one word, Urban News Journal. Go check out that arrest video, and then let me know. Do you want to see more stuff like that? Do you want to see more on-site, on-scene things? So that's something to really help me out with. It looks like you guys like that type of content. That's maybe something we'll do a lot more often moving forward. Um, so there was something I was thinking about, but I cannot quite remember what it was. Have you ever like went into to a room and then you totally forgot what you was about to say? Well, that's exactly how I'm feeling right now. That's exactly how I'm feeling. Okay. I it was something I can't put my finger on it. Yeah. Okay. So, um, there's there's one thing I do want to do though that I have to do, and while I'm doing it, check in. Let me know what's on your mind. What you're feeling, and yeah, it's crazy because I hate when it's something that comes up and and you just draw a blank about it. I cannot for the world of me remember what it was. But all right, let's start with the governor's race because I think a lot of you saw the primary result last week and had a breath for exhale. Crowley won. Milwaukee County's own executive is the Democratic nominee for governor, but Wisconsin governor. And I understand the instinct to feel all good about that, right? It sounds like a real feel good story. But here's what I need you to sit with. That primary was a photo finish. And like I said, like I'm gonna keep on saying, razor thin, razor thin. So close, so close. Yeah, so close it could have been cheating. So close it should have been a recount. But hey, we are here. And because we are here, now there's a new poll that has him opening the general election campaign against Tom Tiffany with what they're calling a slight edge. Slight edge. All right. Just like that razor thin edge. But slight edge. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? I'll let you think about it. Slight edge. Hmm. Not a lead, though. It's not a lead. Okay. And it's not a mandate either. A slight edge in August with a whole general election campaign still right in front of him. It ain't going nowhere. He still got a lot to do. I'm gonna be real clear about something because I know exactly how this thing works. Some of you are going to hear Crowley's ahead. Oh, he's ahead. He's gonna win. He's in the bag. And then check out. You're gonna totally check out. Your mind is gonna go blank and just check out of this race until November. You're not gonna think about it. Once November comes, it's gonna be like it was brand new. Okay, y'all gonna be running around with your heads cut off, trying to get to the polls and all that crazy stuff. But I am telling you this: don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Okay. A slight edge in August is exactly the kind of number that disappears if people get too comfortable. Okay. And like I said, I know I just said like people gonna be, running around trying to get to the polls and all that stuff, but it's gonna be a huge number of people, who's celebrating right now, especially when they hear something about a slight edge, and then they're not gonna show up. They're not even gonna show up to the polls. They're not even gonna if they do show up to the polls, they're not gonna remind nobody else to show up. Okay. So that's how races get lost. It's a real quick way for races to get lost. And we just saw it. We just totally saw that. The polls were pulling Hung ahead of Crump. And guess what happened? Razor thin, razor thin. And it's not because the other side got stronger, but because your side stopped showing up like it totally, you know. And this one matters for Milwaukee Pacific. Why? Because David Crowley has been Milwaukee County executive. He's homegrown here, all right? Born and raised. You know what he's touched? He's touched the transit funding. county services, how this county has approached criminal justice reform, it all falls on him. Okay? So if you want to check out somebody's record, hmm, hmm, check out their record. And Tom Tiffany represents something totally different for this city. And I'm not going to pretend both outcomes land the same way for the neighborhoods we cover. Not at all. I'm not going to do that. And if you are just joining us, if you are watching for the first time, this is the Urban News Journal, independent, objective, and unafraid. Live coverage all the time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Independent analysis is all here by yours truly, Marcus Hart. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe. So we're talking about David Crowley having a slight edge, real slight edge over Tom Tiffany right now in the Wisconsin governor's race. It's going to be a highly watched election when that it's going to continue to be highly watched from now all the way up into November when everybody turns in their ballots and the count happens. So here's where I stand editorially, and I want to say it absolutely plain. We're going to track this race every single week between now and November. Just like I just said, there's eyeballs on this. It is huge. It's more huge than what people think. It's made its way to the national stage, and not just on election night, because a slight edge is a story that's still being written. And Milwaukee deserves reporting that treats it that way instead of declaring victory in August and going back to sleep. That's what they do. That's what happens. Yeah, that's what happens in every election. It never fails. So, my eyes are gonna be on you guys, Milwaukee, to see what you guys do. On the rest of Wisconsin, all these other counties. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? This is your chance. This is your time to shine. So now let's talk about the state fair, because I've seen the video, and you've seen the video, and in fact, I played it at the beginning of this particular. I played like a little like flashes of it, at the beginning as a little intro video, to get us kicked off for the night. And I'm gonna be doing that more often. I'm gonna be like putting clips from like the previous episode at the front, and I should have that little voice that little TV voice previously on U and J. I think I need to have that voice. And once again, for those who just joining us, this is the Urban News Journal, independent, objective, unafraid. We're available on Rumble, YouTube. That's where we're streaming at, and we're streaming to Facebook as well. You can follow us on all social media platforms at Urban News Journal. All is one word. We're on X also. So, stay fair. The video's going viral. It's more than one. Final night, multiple fights, an officer punched, 7 people arrested before the gates even closed for the season. And I want to tell you what's been bothering me about the coverage, because most of the outlets running this story ran it exactly one way. They just ran it one way, like shock value, mob footage, headlines built to make you gasp and scroll past. Some of the framing out there has been flat out irresponsible, leaning on language that does more to feed a stereotype than to actually inform people about what actually happened. And I know I got very upset last week when that wasn't last week. That was just Monday. Just Monday, I got very upset, and I was spitting fireballs at the camera and through the mic, and rightfully so, because I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to see that it was Black and brown kids doing this stuff. But shock value isn't journalism, people. That's content. Okay? Here's the actual journalism question. This is not the time Or should I say, this is not the first time fair security has been overwhelmed on a closing night. So people who are seeing this for the first time nationally, or people who just moved into Wisconsin, or people who had their first rodeo at the state fair, this is not the first time this hasn't happened. You know, every closing night, every year, it's going to happen year after year after year. So what? Specifically, you know, changes before next August. What changes are they going to institute before next year, August 2027? Because from where I'm sitting and from where a lot of you guys sitting, it looks like the same security posture, producing the same result year after year after year. And I don't believe that's bad luck. I believe that's a choice somebody made about staffing, about planning, about how seriously to take a pattern that keeps on repeating itself. I'll tell you something else. We reached out to this week to the West Allis PD, to State Fair Parks Police Department, and to Fair Parks own communication office. We asked them directly, and I'm gonna quote you directly what we asked them when we reached out to them. We asked, where did the breakdown happen? Is there a review underway? What actually is changing? We, so those are the top three questions, and we're gonna bring those. We're gonna bring you those answers the moment that we have. So I'm gonna do like a breaking news. So like I'm not even gonna wait, for the next stream to like, tell you guys the answers they gave me. That's if they even respond at all. That's gonna look bad on their part. Okay? The public deserves answers. What are you guys going to do differently? Okay? Have you guys took a really deep review over this stuff? And because that's what accountability journalism looks like, folks. Not just showing you the video, but asking the people in charge to explain it. Why? And one more thing before I move off of this, because I can really beat this thing into the mud, but I'm not gonna beat it no more until I get my answers. But again, if I don't get my answers by next stream, we're gonna keep calling them out, and I'm gonna need your help. By the way, if you just joined, this is the Urban News Journal, independent, objective, unafraid. We're talking about the Wisconsin State Fair incident where there was a mob of people fighting, hit a police officer, punched a police officer, and just several other just craziness that happened on the final night. Um, but yeah, we're talking about like, hey, I reached out to them directly, looking for some answers, and um, I'm gonna just need you guys' help to put pressure on. Okay, let's not let this thing, just breeze by, and then we right back where we are today, but in a different year, talking about the same thing. Okay, I'm pretty sure the community is tired of it. People has to be tired of this, but the only way we can get what we want is if we put pressure on the people who are in charge. We got to do it. And like I said, I'm not gonna let this story become, about Milwaukee kids collectively. Even though, yeah, they owe, a lot of what happened deserves some accountability on both sides. Not just some, what State Fair didn't do, what West Allis PD didn't do, what so it's a story about rather the people responsible for public safety planning did their job. So keep that distinction. Distinction. What is it? Distinction. Distinguish. Okay, let's say it like this. Rewind. Let's distinguish the two in your head. Distinguish between the Milwaukee kids and also the public safety planet. Because a lot of the coverage out there wants you to blur the lines. They don't want you to separate the two. They don't want you to like hold both accountable in the same right. Okay? And complaining works. So we need to complain. All right. Let's shift gears. And this show is moving faster than what I thought today. Okay. So let's shift gears because Milwaukee, we need to talk about something good for a second. All right. While the entire sports internet has spent this week losing its mind over LeBron James signing with the Sixers. And look, we talked about that Monday. I had things to say about, about that, but I also have things to say about our team, the team that's actually in this city. They have been quietly winning baseball games. I'm talking about some shutouts. The Brewers took the series from Seattle, and they are holding their lead in the NL Central right now, in the middle of August, while nobody's paying attention. Nobody's, except the true Brew Crew. They paying attention. People who are out there tailgating. Holding up the traffic while some of us are trying to get home. Those people die hard. Okay, if you see them rocking the jerseys and everything, I got to get me a jersey now, okay? Because we do not acknowledge the Brewers enough, and you can owe a lot of that to the Bucks because they have like raised the bar in that famous championship run with Giannis. So now the bar is much higher for the Brewers. Everybody don't want to hear nothing from them until they do get to the World Series. But I say that's not fair. We have to support them. The same way. We support the Bucks. We ride with the Bucks and we die hard with the Bucks. We should be able to do the same thing with the Brew Crew. The Brewers deserves their flowers, people. They have been a winning franchise for the past decade now. So I want to be the outlet that gives Milwaukee teams its due. ESPN is not going to cover the Brewers with Milwaukee flavor at all. National shows are not going to tell you what this team means walking into September. That's our job. That's our job as Milwaukee residents, as proud Wisconsinites, to let the world know about the Brewers. Okay? So here's what I want from you tonight. If you got a night open this month, go to the game. Yeah, go to the game. Take your kids. Support the team while they are doing something real instead of only showing up when it's a playoff highlight reel. Drop in the chat right now if you already got tickets already and you want to go see them or you're going to see them, you're planning, put in the comments what you think, okay? Tell me what is your, side of the opinion that you have about the Brewers. Are you happy about it? Are you really a low-key Chicago Cubs fan? Boo! Like, but regardless of the fact, I want to hear from you. And speaking of like hearing from you guys, I'm listening. I'm checking those comments. You guys drop comments mostly on the clips. I don't really see any like comments on the whole entire live stream replay. So, but like when the clips go out, that's when all the talking happens. Because people feel like they can just sneak one in there. And one of the comments that I got, and this was something I was going to go into earlier. I believe so. Maybe one of them, one of the things. But anywho, somebody was talking about like, hey, is this recorded in 3K? So they were throwing jabs at my camera. Yes, my camera isn't the best, so that's why tonight I'm also streaming with a second camera, my phone, my iPhone. which I know is going to give me superior quality versus just the straight laptop camera that you see in front of you. But man, here's the thing, man. I'm just now really starting to build this channel up, and the only way the quality can get better is if I get you guys to support. That's the only way. And that's by getting me to 4,000 um, watch hours before YouTube, increases their time to 8,000 watch hours that you would need. Um, that helps. Watch the content, share the content, and also, if you want to support me further, we have the newsletter. We do have a newsletter. You can find that newsletter, sign up by going over to urbannewsjournal.com. That's urbannewsjournal.com. We have a lot of our articles there as well. A lot of our articles live there, and things that we talk about on air here, they do end up like becoming articles, or they already have articles leading up to the live stream. It's a good way to get a preview about what I'm going to talk about next, or something that I might not be have time to talk about on a live stream. Real good time. So yeah, man, support me, and I'm not asking for money. I'm definitely not asking for money. But hey, if you want to throw a couple of dollars, let me know. So let me know if you want to support me with a couple of dollars. That's cool too. Um, but right as of right now, it's all about just giving you guys important information, and giving you guys news stories that should matter. Okay, because hey, we're all in this together. And those who just joining, this is the Urban News Journal, independent, objective, and unafraid, baby. Live coverage and independent analysis Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay? So this next one, I'm going to need you guys' full attention on this one, because I'm not talking about this as a reporter. No, I'm talking about this one actually as a veteran. UWM is folding its Military and Veterans Resource Center. They call it the MAVRC. They are folding it into a single shared hub with 7 other student resource centers by this fall. On paper, that sounds like efficiency, consolidation. Nothing to see here, right? That's how they do it all the time. They just give you the paper, and you look at the paper. Oh, that looks good, without even reading between the lines, or asking about what people what the people think that's going to be affected. Okay, so let me tell you what it actually is, though. Jessica Garza is an Army veteran and the president of the Students Veterans of America at UWM. And here's what she said, and I quote: "We have triggers that you got to worry about, our mental health and everything." I'll say it again. We have triggers that you got to worry about, our mental health and everything. Sit with that one for a second and don't move past it. Once again, this is the Urban News Journal, independent, objective, and unafraid. I'm Marcus Hart. I'm talking about UWM and the work they have just done. the work they don't even know they about to do. Okay. So Ben Sharples, Navy veteran, said the center gave him a space where, quote, didn't have to explain. He didn't have to explain his background. That's what he's talking about. Y'all, that sentence right there is the whole ball game. That's the whole enchilada. Enchilada. Right. Didn't have to explain his background. Do you know what it means to walk into a room and not have to explain what you carrying? Not have to translate your own life into something a civilian can process before you can even get to why you walked in the door in the first place. It's not a luxury, folks. It's not a luxury at all. That's the entire function of a specialized place. And it's exactly what gets lost the moment you fold 8 different populations into one generic hub and call it equality or equity. They call it equity, not equality. All right. So I want to be fair. UWM says no jobs are being lost, that private spaces still will be available for sensitive conversations. I'm not here to tell you the university is lying, but I am here to tell you that co-location and deprioritization can really look identical from the outside for about 2 years. Right up until the day the specialized piece quietly isn't there anymore. That's how institutions do this. They don't do it with no announcement, no newsletter, nothing. You don't get a phone call. You don't even get smoke signals. Instead, they do it with a slow fade. That is exactly the kind of story a Black-owned, veteran-owned outlet exists to cover. The kind mainstream Milwaukee news will run once, move on from that, and never follow up on. We're not going to do that. We're going to stay on top of this one and make sure we get the answers that we need, and make sure we do our own due diligence to make sure that transparency is happening and that nothing's changing for these veteran students. And it's quite ironic because I'm going to be a UWM student coming up here. I got to get my transcripts in. That's So I was going to attend Marquette, but Marquette's a little bit too intense right now. I have a lot going on, so UWM is the fallback. Take a few courses here and there, but man, so yeah, although I'm taking, the UWM flex option, which is like, pretty much remote. I'm not going to be actually on the campus, but I will be a UWM student. I don't want to. Once I do decide to go on campus, like, I mean, it will really rub me the wrong way if I go into the student resource center and then the specialized type of help I'm looking for I can't get. It would be a total shame. Will give me even more of a reason to yell at the top of my lungs about what the hell's going on. All right. Now let's bring the energy back up because it's Black Business Month and Milwaukee's got real momentum right now. And for those who just joined it, as always, I'm Marcus Hart. This is the Urban News Journal, independent, objective, and unafraid. Do me a solid. Hit that like button, hit that follow or subscribe button. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Rumble. We have social media, just about every platform. So that way you won't get lost in the sauce. And as always, hit us up on urbannewsjournal.com for our exclusive articles and to sign up to our newsletter so you can be on top of things. So I want to shout out these businesses, man. Okay. So Black Arts Fest Milwaukee, MKE, Black Arts Fest MKE just wrapped up. Bronzeville Week programming is still going. And there's a whole directory, MKE Black, Milwaukee Black businesses in this city that deserve your money before it goes to some chain that doesn't know your name. Okay. I want to shout a few of those places out. For example, Sound Place, Jazz Cafe, A Taste of Soul, MKE, Milwaukee Advanced Physical Therapy, run by a brother named Santana Deacon, who opened the first Black-owned PT clinic in the city. That's huge. That is huge. Boy, get that boy a head clap. Yeah. So here's your homework this weekend. Drop your favorite Black-owned Milwaukee spot in the comments right now. I need you guys to do that. Support these businesses if you care. This is one way to do it by, voicing like, hey, this particular business XYZ is doing awesome, great service. The food's good, or the product's good, whatever. The service good, whatever. Let us know, and we will make sure we blast it out there. To further our arm of supporting them. Okay, and I'll read every one of those comments. Like I said, earlier, like, you guys was talking about my 3K camera. It's not 3K. The camera was not 3K. Okay. So yeah. And if you own a business in the city and you are watching this, know that we are actively building relationships with businesses just like yours. Because Urban News Journal only works long term if the businesses who serve this community and the news outlet that covers this community are standing together. Okay? So don't be shy out there. Come on, reach on out. Yeah, I'll be waiting. I'm gonna be reaching out too. And in fact, I already reached out to a lot of you guys. Okay, it was a lot of you guys I already reached out to. So I haven't heard nothing back yet. Don't get me worried. I don't want to blast nobody. Okay. All right. But anywho, so let me bring all 5 of these home for you. Because they're not 5 separate stories. No. They are one story, told 5 different ways. A governor's race that people want to treat like it's already decided. A state fair that wants you to believe chaos on the same night every year is just bad luck. A university that wants combined to sound the same as cared for. Every single one of these is somebody somewhere trying to get away with the easy answer instead of doing the hard, accountable thing. And I tell you, that right there is not just the news. That's life. That's every single one of us, every single day. It is so much easier to accept the easy answer than to do the next right thing. It's easier to stay comfortable with a slight lead than to keep working like the race isn't won. It's easier to call a repeated failure bad luck than to look in the mirror and call it a choice. It's easier to fold something you don't understand into a box marked efficient than sit with the person in front of you and actually understand what they're carrying. Well, here's what I believe. Here's what I believe. And I believe it's because I have lived it in the Army, in this city, in my own life, when I had to make hard calls about what I was willing to keep doing versus what I needed to let go of. God doesn't ask us to have the whole road figured out. He asks us to take the next right step, not the whole journey, just the next step. Done with integrity, done with honesty, done like somebody's watching, because somebody is always watching, believe it or not. So whatever you're carrying tonight, whatever your version of a slight lead is, whatever breakdown you have been calling bad luck instead of just naming it for what it is, I want you to leave this stream and take one honest step, not the whole thing, just the next right one. Milwaukee, I love this city. I do. That's why we do this show the way we do it. It's not to make you comfortable, but it's absolutely to make you informed. And hopefully, a little more ready to do the next right thing yourself. Get on the newsletter. The link is below for the full breakdown of tonight's show and what's ahead this weekend. You'll see it all there. And as always, we'll see you on Friday. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is the only place probably in the whole entire planet that we are independent, objective, and unafraid. The Urban News Journal. I'm Marcus Hart. Good night, my folks out there in Milwaukee and wherever you are in the rest of the world. God bless you and may the Lord keep you. Peace and love.